1 jar.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. That was not very elegant. Welcome to Essential Ingredients. We have a special episode today. You might have met her before when she was on not too long ago. She's a chef. She makes pickled vegetables. Okay, so Sam, you might have remembered her. She's from Golden State Pickle Works, and we're here with her today to learn how to do this ourselves at home. So we've prepared everything. Well, by prepare, I mean we got all the ingredients. They're not yet prepared, but Sam's going to help me prepare them so that we can make some great recipes that you too can follow along or make on your own at a later time and have to keep and store in your house for weeks to come.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me again. I'm super excited to make some pickles with you. And I always really love teaching people how to make pickles for the first time.
I'm excited. So, I got to tell you, by the way, my favorite pickles are cucumber pickles. They're more crispy. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're not quite as yellow or green. They're more like cucumber pickles.
Yes. So we're going to do those styles today too.
That's my favorite. I'm very excited.
Well, first things first, we have to make sure that we have a really clean, sanitized area. Using a brand new chopping board, a new knife that's just been cleaned, and we do need to sanitize our jars first and foremost.
Okay.
Jars and lids, and the ring that tightens the lid. What we're going to do is make a food-safe sanitation solution with your bleach that is about a 1/4 of a teaspoon to a quart of water. So in a larger glass, go ahead and fill that up with water and then add about a 1/4 of a teaspoon of that bleach to it. What we're really essentially doing is we're trying to kill any bacteria that really are on there right now, but not trying to overdo it with the bleach. And anything we're doing as far as diluting it is really helpful this way. Great. So after you mix up that little bleach and a little bit of water, that's our sanitizing solution. What you're going to want to do is grab a paper towel, get that wet and wring it out so it's slightly on the drier side, but completely moistened with that bleachy water. And just run that paper towel on the inside surface of that jar and the lid and the ring that the lid connects to.
Okay, dipping, cleaning.
Perfect. And do the same thing with the inside of that jar. And your other jar as well. You might as well do both.
Yeah, why not? We could be efficient. You're so patient. For those that are tuning in to watch this, it has been quite a journey to get here. And I don't mean necessarily today, July 31st or whatever, but I mean getting to the point where we had all these things and we were prepared and we put them all together. It's my fault. I was a little disorganized.
So yeah, people often think of pickling as old-fashioned or intimidating, but really all it is it's really one of the most accessible and low-tech ways to preserve food. It also helps reduce waste and support gut health. You really don't need any fancy tools, just a jar and everything that's around you right now, and some salt and thyme. Okay. So ingredients are the real main thing that we needed to gather. And now, sorry?
Can I pour this out? No,
not yet. We're gonna sanitize the outside of our jars before we set them aside at the end of our day.
Okay.
So that gets set aside in your sink so that you don't knock it over.
Okay. I'm setting it aside.
Perfect. Now we're gonna do a fermented pickle first.
Okay.
We have to wait to air dry our jars right there because we don't want any residual sanitizer in there, but we also don't want to take a towel because any fibers that will drag inside of that will kind of just dilute that fermentation and not be so clean to begin with. So while that air dries out, let's take out our ingredients. For this specific product, we're going to do those pickling cucumbers. We're going to have garlic. What's that?
How many?
Let's look at the cucumber. Hold up a cucumber and hold up the jar, and let's see what we've got. Can they stand up straight up in there? No, they can't. How about you
They
remove?
can. I can just take off this little stem thingy.
That's exactly what we're going to do. That's how we're going to prep those veggies. So really, earlier when we were going back and forth about how to prepare the veggies, it really depends on the vessel we're fermenting in, because we want to make as much use as the space that we have in there, but still have enough space for the brine to surround it. So in this case, holding up that cucumber compared to the jar, we do know that we can trim up the top and bottoms, and we can just stand them straight up. Okay. So go ahead and do about 4 of those cucumbers, because we also have 1 or 2 green tomatoes to add to that. So we're going to trim the bottoms and the top off of that cucumber to make sure they can stand up straight up. Let's wedge that green tomato in 6s or 8s.
Okay.
I'm saying 6s or 8s because I am keeping in mind that you like half sour cucumbers.
I do.
Which are about a 5-day ferment. And within the 5 days, I want that green tomato to also be fermented. Now, the unripe green tomato part of this is going to stay firmer than the cucumber themselves, believe it or not. This is the coolest part about having unripe green tomatoes, is that they're just so firm but full of umami that it really lends a beautiful flavor.
Am I doing 2 or 1? I just did 1 tomato.
Let's just do 1.
Okay.
1 tomato, and we have some garlic. We've got dill.
We got
and
the
a
garlic.
little.
How many cloves?
I would say 4, but that's just because I really love garlic. Do you love garlic?
I do love garlic.
I would say 4-ish.
4-ish.
Yeah, you know those fun recipes that say when they calls for 2 cloves, they put in like 18. So it's about how much you like garlic.
So are you saying that if somebody loves garlic, they could put in 10 garlic?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, I'm just letting our listeners know that they've got options.
Oh, yes. So I go a little heavy on the garlic too. I like to put a little chili flake in my garlic, in my cucumbers, mainly because everything is so bright. I want something deeper happening and a little bit of warmth. So I also put a little chili flake. Now, I believe you have
those.
Yeah, and you might want to or you might not want to. But what is a particular classic flavor profile is at least dill and garlic.
Okay. But I like thinking something a little different. So are there any other ideas that you have? So watching this and they want to be adventurous.
Some people really love curries or Mexican flavors. You know, I do Mexican carrots with cumin, coriander, and Mexican oregano, and that would be really beautiful as well.
That sounds right up my alley.
Well, you are welcome to add 1 of your carrots into that jar or 2, and we can add a little bit of that Mexican backtone as well.
Okay. I like that we're being flexible in our recipes here as we learn.
Yeah. We're improvising. This particular step is very individualistic. It can literally be anything you want. It's the next step that's really the step that is important to understand.
The stuff that makes it happen.
Yes. So as you're prepping your vegetables, those jars are now completely air dried. In 1 of those jars, we're going to make a salt brine.
Okay.
And that jar will fit, I'd say, a pound of your vegetables. And we'll probably use, would you mind checking out that top number on the jar just to see how big it is, how many ounces it holds?
It holds
32.
I think it's 32 ounces.
It looks like 32 in your hand.
It is.
Okay, perfect. Which means we're probably going to just make we're going to make more brine than we need, just for simplistic sake. And you can easily use this brine and keep it for your next ferment. So go ahead and take your teaspoon measure, and a little bit of salt.
And how
Now,
how much salt?
yeah, so fermentation works anywhere between a 2 and a 5% salinity. I like to go straight in the middle. Let's do 1 tablespoon for that 1 whole quart of water that we're going to dissolve.
1 tablespoon. Okay, 1 tablespoon of salt.
Yep.
Now I use sea salt, by the way.
That's nice. A lot of people like sea salt. It's got those minerals and extra goodies that everybody loves. I personally would use that as well if I was at home, but because I own a business and everything has to be quite straightforward and by the book, I use kosher salt.
What's the difference in taste?
Your salt is a little more flavorful. Again, it has a lot more minerals, but really one big mistake that beginners do make is that they either don't use enough salt or they use the wrong kind. So you'll want to stick with either kosher salt or sea salt as long as it's not iodized. And at this point, we're always going to dissolve it in water. So go ahead and put that tablespoon into your jar.
1 jar.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. That was not very elegant. And I'm not sure how much I got. So should I just put a little extra in?
Sure.
Can you put too much salt in?
You can. So you'll know immediately by not being able to eat the pickles. Also, if you put way too much salt, it'll just take a really long time to ferment.
So should I fill this with some filtered water now?
Go ahead and fill it up to that 32-ounce mark. Okay.
Water, no problem.
Next step is closing that lid. Put that the flat top on there, put that ring around there and get it tight and start shaking. What you're going to do is you're really going to try and dissolve that salt. This is the most important part because otherwise you just get salted water, and it's the salty water that creates a brine through fermentation and turns the vegetable into a pickle. So once you see all of your salt dissolved, let me know. That's perfect. All right, take your empty jar.
Okay.
And put your prepped vegetables in the jar. I would start off with your cucumbers since it is the longest and you'll want to keep them standing up. And then wedge in your tomatoes and garlic.
Maybe I could wedge them in down below in the crease.
Yeah, in the center. Perfect. Are you going to add a little chili flake?
I am.
I would say for that amount, if you don't want them super spicy, I would say 1/2 teaspoon of the chili flake is plenty.
1.5 teaspoons or?
1/2.
1/2.
Yeah. I would, okay, a pinch, a 2-finger pinch.
A 2-finger pinch. Okay.
We're talking grandma style now.
Okay.
So do you see how much you're wedging those in? Is it too hard? Is there not enough?
No, I think we're good. I think there's just more room down below, and I was trying to navigate all of this. There we go.
You can also cut that cucumber in half just to make it shorter.
Okay, maybe I'll do that. Oh, wait, I didn't put the garlics in yet.
Mm-hmm. Also keep room for the dill. You know what? Would you cut those cucumbers so that they are below the waistline of that lid rather than completely on top?
Okay. 1 sec. I'm getting creative here. I hope we have flexibility.
Yeah.
I'm doing it like this. Is that okay?
There are 2 ways to think of this. Now, some people
I feel like that's a no.
Some people like to cut them in spears. Now, just keep in mind, what keeps a cucumber crispy through fermentation is that really nice, snappy skin. So if you're exposing the centers, we now don't have the skin to protect.
I'm not going to do that with all of them, just this one.
Perfect.
Because I think then I'll be able to taste the difference.
Yes.
And I can have an experience and
determine
what I like.
Yes.
And it fits better.
Great.
I'm just not sure about this one now.
Yeah, we don't have to put all of them in.
Well, that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
So we have
We want to keep room for a little, the brine to flow.
Okay. I'm going to put a little chili in here. Boom.
Nice. And your garlic is in there already?
Yeah.
Okay, now your last thing is your dill.
Okay, my dill is right here. How much dill?
Now, for all of that, I would probably say half of a traditional bunch that you would see at any grocery store. But what I really love about dill from the garden is all that stem that you also trimmed off.
Right.
And a lot, you can save those beautiful fronds for the soup and the yogurt dip that you're going to make later on. But dill is dill all throughout, and it has the best flavor. That looks like a perfect amount of dill. Now shove that right on in, and all we're going to do is cover with the brine that you just made.
So I'm going to open this.
Yes. And pour it right into your jar.
Okay.
All right. Is there a way you can kind of fold that dill right into the brine?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, before we cover that with the jar lid, we want to add a little surface protector, and you're already doing that with the dill. So through fermentation, bacteria starts to grow. That bacteria produces a lactic acid, and that acid is what changes the vegetable into a pickle. While that happens, oxygen produces the bacteria. So we need to prohibit a lot of that mold growth by just not exposing the vegetables to the oxygen. Another way to do that is to have some sort of surface right on top of that brine. So go ahead and place that inside. Shove it inside so they can actually yeah. So this is protecting that brine from the oxygen and will prohibit.
Is that how they make everything look so pretty? And
I don't know. This is how I do it. So keep it inside. Don't have any of it.
Don't have any of it. Okay.
Make it like nicely protecting that surface there. Perfect. Now we can put that lid on there. And take the ring, but don't close it completely. Just close it ever so slightly.
Okay.
Perfect. Now what you're doing is you're creating enough flow for the oxygen to come in and out, because inside of that jar is going to start to become alive, and it will produce the gas and it will want to breathe. So you'll see it kind of expand and change colors and produce little bubbles, and that's the CO2 happening because it's becoming alive.
Awesome.
So what you're doing next is you're going to set that on your counter for about 4 days. And again, within that time, the bacteria starts to turn that into a pickle. And I would say after day 4, you should start tasting that speared piece that you have in there. If you like the flavor that it's going in, then either keep going or stop it by putting it in the refrigerator. Once you like the way the texture is, it's ready for you to eat year round. Just leave it in your fridge completely tight, and it should last forever, but it won't go bad. But a best buy time period to keep those crispy pickles will probably be about in the 6-month to 8-month range.
Perfect. That's great to know. Wow, it's got a long life. And so you can always make extra. Even so, if you don't know how much to make, if you're doing it for like friends coming over or for the weekend or a barbecue, you can always make extra because you can throw it in the fridge and it will stay.
Exactly that. And you did make extra brine. So anytime you have any leftovers trim for any of your food that you don't have the half of a carrot spoken for, just stick it on in there.
Will do.
Now, one little note about this, because it becomes alive and probiotic, it will tend to expand. I noticed that we had so many vegetables in there that the brine might expand outside of the jar. So you might want to place that on a plate, just in case the overflow of the brine does come out. Okay. And every day, take that and press your fingers right into that just to make sure it stays underneath that water level. That'll ensure it to keep from molding.
Great, thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Now,
yes.
There are 2 types of pickling.
Yes.
Yes, there's vinegar pickling, which is the quick and easy one, and the fermented pickles, which are the slower and probiotic rich ones that we just did. I do recommend beginners to always try both to see how it fits their taste and their rhythm. So next we're going to do a vinegar pickle. Now, a lot of people have a lot of different recipes for American sweeter style pickles. I tend to think they're always way too sweet. So I always cut my sugars in half. I also love ratios. So I can make a recipe as small or as large as I want as long as I know this ratio. And the ratio for a vinegar style pickle is a 4-2-1. 4 parts vinegar, 2 parts water, 1 part seasoning, sugar, everything else.
Okay.
So let's do a recipe. In your 1 quart jar, we're probably going to need half of a quart of pickling liquid to cover the veggies. That means it is a total of 2 cups. So half of a cup of vinegar, quarter cup of water, quarter cup of everything else. That's fine. Great. So I love doing a combination of vinegars. With a total of a half a cup of vinegar, either you could do 1/4 and 1/4, which is what I would do, just to keep it simple. And then a half a cup of water. And this all goes into your pot to simmer.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the apple cider vinegar. And I'm going to do 1/4 of a cup of that. Once I'm done with that, then I'll go to the white vinegar, the distilled vinegar,
You're going to be so annoyed with me. I'm doing my math right now, and I think you're going to need more.
More water?
I think you're going to need can you please do 1 more quarter cup of vinegar and half of a quarter cup, so another 1/8 cup of water?
Which vinegar?
Whatever you want. Apple cider's perfect.
Perfect. So we're going to do 1/4 cup.
Just because I think we have a few more vegetables than I remember.
And then how much more water? Another 1/4 cup of water?
1/8 of a cup of water.
1/8 of a cup. It's a good thing I have all of these measuring spoons.
Yes.
So that I could maybe get 1/8 of a cup.
But, it's just half of that quarter cup mark.
It is, but, I thought I'm really excited about all my new little things.
It's funny that they have that. It's literally like the size of your palm.
Okay, got it. It's in.
Perfect. Okay, now it is a 1/4 cup of everything else. So go ahead and place that on your cutting board and start to fill it up with your seasonings. First, we're going to do about 1/8 of a cup of sugar.
1/8 of a cup of sugar. Okay. I'm going to grab a spoon.
Yeah, and then just put it inside of that 1/4 cup measure so that we can just total that measuring cup.
Okay, so it's going to be, I think it's like a tablespoon.
That looks great. Yeah, it looks like 2 tablespoons-ish, but yeah, that's perfect.
Is that enough?
Yeah. Did you put it inside of the 1/4 cup measure?
No, I put it in the pot.
So
I know, but I'm just telling you,
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, now let's put in about 2 tablespoons of salt.
2 tablespoons of salt. We can do that in the pot, not in the measuring cup.
Sure.
Just double checking. Jesus, I'll be here all day.
And then we're going to figure out what spices to put in there.
This is not an efficient way for me to do salt.
Salt is your preservative and flavor carrier. So one other thing that people always do is, it does seem like a lot of salt, but we have to keep in mind that a lot of it is the pickling liquid that we're infusing with the veggies. So we're not eating all the salt that we're putting in there. That's perfect.
Well, I'm not afraid of salt. I like salt. It's just my shaker is inefficient.
Yeah.
I look like a box where I stick my hand in.
Yeah.
Note to everyone, not efficient way to get salt in the spoon.
I honestly think that what you put in before was enough. It just looks like a lot. I don't know how much is coming out of your.
Sure.
I don't know how much is coming out of your shaker though, too. So
Okay.
hardly any, apparently. Okay, no. Now we've got some black peppercorns. We have mustard seed.
How much
What else do we
coriander
have?
seed are we doing?
I would say a few. You know,
A quarter cup?
no, way smaller than that.
Okay.
I would say about a tablespoon at the most. Eyeballing a tablespoon at the most.
Okay, I got it. Done.
Perfect. Same along with all of your other spices that you've got.
Okay, I like this, and it's going to be pretty.
It will be, yes. You're making your own pickling spice out of what you've got at home.
Yes. And the mustard.
Mustard's great. This is also classic. Bay leaves are classic as well. And do you want to keep this spicy or a little bit of warmth as well, or keep it without?
No, we'll just do one warm and one.
Great.
How's that? And how many bay leaves?
And I'd say one, if not half. Just, yeah.
There we go. It's a broken one.
Perfect.
Okay, now what are we doing?
All right, now bring that up to the simmer.
I wish you could see.
It looks like pickling liquid. I love it.
Alrighty, that was elegant. Okay. Okay, well, it's good. It's fine.
Yeah. All right, put that on low heat while we prep our veggies. All right. Now we're going to want to take a look at all of your veggies and, again, determine with the size of the jar that we have how we're going to prepare them. I feel like those carrots might like to be cut in half, especially because they're really dense. Maybe slice them long ways.
Okay.
Now, this kind of pickling happens when you pour hot liquid over fresh veggies, essentially cooking the vegetables with that hot vinegar liquid.
I'm washing the dirt off the veggies.
So proper. Good for you.
I just thought it might be a good idea. Okay, so can I cut the top of the veggie off?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then cut it lengthwise, at least in half, if not in quarters.
Okay, I'm going to keep them like this. Is that okay?
Perfect. Yeah, toss them inside of that jar. We also have a stalk of fennel and a big shallot behind you, I see. What else do you have?
I do have a shallot and a fennel.
And a zucchini?
And a zucchini.
Awesome. So as far as the zucchini goes, as you know, the zucchini is way more tender than that carrot. So you definitely...
Way more what?
Tender.
Tender, yes.
So depending on the size, we probably don't need to cut it as thin as you are the carrots right now.
Okay, should we put the fennel in next?
Sure.
Is this edible?
Make sure that yes, but what you'll want to do is cut it along the fibers so that it's easy for you to chomp on. Either that or just put a little piece of that fennel in there for the spice action. Just for it to flavored fennel. Yeah.
There we go.
Awesome.
Okay.
I do think that you would love that pickled onion, so go ahead and at least put the whole shallot in there, either sliced or wedged.
I love the fact that we're using shallots for my garden.
Yeah.
So while I'm cutting this, if you don't have shallots, what are some other just ideas we can give people for taste and flavor that are really great for pickling that they might not think of?
What I like to do if we don't have something like the standard garlic, because the garlic is the standard part, I just thought that the shallot was a beautiful addition because it came from your garden and it's in the same family as the garlic. So thinking in those terms, an allium of some sort would be really nice. But if you don't have that, I bet somebody has some sort of onion or garlic powder in their pantry that they could use.
Okay. And now I have the zucchini here.
Great. Now you get to choose if you want them spears or coins.
I think I'm going to do coins.
Now go ahead and go check your pickling liquid. How far is it up? Okay, so now we have you. We know that we have a couple more seconds to finalize our jar. Do you have any other veggies around you that you want to include?
We can always include more carrots and zucchini.
Oh, you have the beet.
What? Oh, I do have a beet.
If you want, now keep in mind that adding the beet will definitely meld the beet
Color, flavor,
everywhere. Color.
Yeah.
So if you're in the mood, okay.
Let's stick with the cucumbers. I mean, not the cucumbers. The carrots and the. Can I stick it in like this?
Absolutely.
So what I'm learning is there's really not a wrong way to cut your veggies.
Correct.
You may decide it's like however you want to eat it later. Is it in a salad? Is it by itself?
Yes.
So you want to figure that out for yourself. And you can figure it out as you play with this.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on what the jar is telling you. Now, I do recall that we left a cucumber ready for you too, if you wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, why not? I love a cucumber.
So go ahead and get your boiling liquid. If it's not completely boiling yet, just go ahead and put it on high till it's boiling. Okay, perfect. Now bring it on over to the jar and slowly pour that hot liquid into your jar.
I don't think there's enough liquid.
Do you want to do another batch?
What do you think?
I think you should.
Okay.
So half cup.
Okay, so we're gonna do a half a cup of the apple cider.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do a half a cup of water, right?
Another half a cup of white vinegar as well.
Okay. Okay. And then we gotta get all the spices in again, right?
Yeah, but just put as, random pinches. I think, as far as the salt and the sugar goes, just put like a 3-pinch amount in there, unless you really like to measure.
Okay, I'm putting some coriander, whatever this is, coriander seed. Oh no. Okay, let me put the stove on. Okay, great.
You got your sugar and your salt in there as well, yeah?
Oh no, I'm gonna do that right now.
Oh, perfect.
How much sugar?
So we did one half. We should do 1/4 cup of sugar.
Sure. Okay, and then salt.
Just put 1 tablespoon of salt. And because the burner is probably on high right now, go ahead and either whisk it a little bit or use a spoon to just make sure that sugar doesn't caramelize on the bottom.
Okay. Okay, we're back. We've stirred. It's on the stove, and
we're just waiting for that to boil. In the meantime, let's sanitize the outside of the cucumber jar that I forgot to walk through. So before, when we had our previous jar, it would be awesome to just wipe down the outside of that jar just to make sure that you're not kind of jump starting bacteria growth.
Okay.
And we're going to do the same thing with this vinegar jar. And this one's a little bit more important just because it's got sugar in the brine, and we definitely don't want any sticky sugar on the outside of this jar.
Right. Okay. How's that? Good?
Perfect.
Okay, so.
God, that looks so good.
Oh, doesn't it look pretty?
Yes, and you're going to be surprised how delicious that green tomato is.
Just going to put a few things away, clean up as we go along.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So with this weekly pickling session that I tell a lot of my customers, if you've got your carrots with tops, the aging cabbage, or even watermelon rinds, these can all be pickled. Pickling turns what could be compost into something with another shelf life that really just ups the flavor of anything you're eating, whether it's your sandwiches or tacos or even traditional porridge.
Yes, I love all those ideas. I do. And I think it's great because we do have so much waste. And unless I'm making a juice, I don't use the rind of a watermelon. But if I am making the juice, I'll throw the watermelon, I'll throw the rind in. So it's things like that that we don't think about. And in truth, they're all edible anyway. It's just a different way to mix it up and make something edible or more tasty out of it.
Now, this is there are different ways you can do vinegar pickling. I've known some grandmothers who actually don't bring the pickling liquid up to a complete boil because they don't want to cook the vegetables. But in our case, because you've got carrots and firm vegetables, I think that it's a good reason to boil the whole liquid.
We have a little extra.
Yes, that's not surprising.
But that being said, you should see how gorgeous it looks.
Wow, you can see it. Okay, so what happens now is you're going to wait until we're going to keep that completely as it is. We're not putting the lid on there. We're not even because otherwise we're just steaming inside of that, and then we're creating the extra water that can develop the bad bacteria. So now we're just waiting until this becomes completely room temperature before we put that lid on, clasp it on really tight, and it lives in the refrigerator. Some people like to do the whole canning method and keeping it out at room temp until they actually open it. And that's a completely additional process that we're not even dipping into today.
Okay, in an hour and a half. And then we will have two different pickles. Now, maybe you and I can meet on like a little Instagram live and we can try them together. Like I'll try mine, you'll have yours. Exactly. Okay, so I'll meet you back here in how many days?
So those vinegar pickles are going to be done by the time you put them in the fridge. So go ahead and taste one because they're going to be very delicious.
Which ones?
The vinegar ones are. Yep. Because essentially what we're doing is just cooking the vegetables with vinegar. And by the time it's room temperature or cold, it's pickled. Okay,
so how about we meet back Monday or Tuesday next week?
Okay.
Hopefully we hop on Instagram and we try our pickles. We talk about how they tasted, what
that's so much fun.
Like,
yes.
And all the different ways we compare them.
Yes.
Alrighty, and then in the meantime, we will let them pickle. Let them pickle.
Let them be. Let them do their thing. But what's really going to be cool is watching the daily process of those fermented cucumbers and green tomatoes. I think that's going to visually change from cloudy and bubbly to a whole different color for the vegetables.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Enjoy the process.
This was so fun. I have to apologize for my, I was not prepared, folks.
I always love walking people through, and this time it was the first time on Zoom where I couldn't physically just like do it and show you, So it was fun to just be able to, you got to do it. Go get that. Yeah.
You did. I ran out. I got it. I came back, and we're good. And those green tomatoes and the pickles just look beautiful.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
Perfect.
Okay, Sam, we will talk soon. And I want to thank our guests for tuning in today, our listeners. This was a unique opportunity to work with a chef and somebody that makes her own products, walk us through this process to make it accessible to you in your own home, to help you to be creative with foods that you don't eat or before they go rotten, or just to create another healthy, fresh snack.
I hope everybody understands how fun and very low-key pickling can be.
Very low key, very low maintenance.
Yes.
So if you're not following us on our podcast because you're watching this on the video cast, don't forget you can find us wherever you listen to your podcast at Essential Ingredients.
Perfect.
We'll see you again next week.
Bye.